start getting what you call subretinal fluids with detachment, and the stage 3B is a total RP. Stage 4 will be total retinal detachment with glaucoma, and stage 5 is a non-seeing, either phthitic or an absolute eye. What are the clinical presentations and how do we diagnose those? To keep in mind is the fact that the more severe forms of the disease happen in young patients as opposed to the less severe which happen in older population. First of all, you might have sheath and synthetic vessels, like you see here. This is actually one of the more common presentations. And if you continue, you get what you call, especially by fluorescein, aneurysms that are grape-like and cluster that are diploid shaped. Now, you might have some communicating channels and occasionally a retinal NP, which probably is, that's what we have a diffuse leak. You can get leakage, as I said, from the non-vascular bed, and subretinal exudates that you see here. And usually you see this going towards posterior pole. This might stimulate the ingrowth of blood vessels and scar tissue. Usually it happens in the superior temporal quadrant, as you see here, and it can be in macular, premacular areas. This is another NV that has developed, mostly because of a long period of time of exudation. Another severe advanced exudative retinal detachment that's happening, and you have, this is developing in the macular and paramacular areas. Another picture of exudation that has gone to the posterior pole and led to a macular and paramacular detachment, exudative detachment. Also, at times, you can see this exudation grossly, and this is what appears as euphoria at times. But again, it can be diffuse detachment that we see. And that's when you probably mistake it for retinoblastoma. You can have cells in the vitreous, so think of arthritis, and of course an absolute eye. Now, the clinical course, well, it depends on how bad the disease is, because as I said, this is not a very common disease, so we don't have very big series. You only have 2 big series in the literature. The course is variable, but usually it's progressive. There is an acute exacerbation, but usually it is intercepted by long periods of quiescence. You have spontaneous remissions and spontaneous resorption of the exudates, but usually this does not happen. You have choroidal NVs, especially in areas of chronic lipid depositions. So you can have subretinal vascular membranes. And of course, you can have retinal neovessels, vitreous hemorrhage, cataract, rubiosis RENs, and more advanced cases, neovascular lymphoma, thesis bulbosus, they're very severe cases. Now, the fluorescein angiography is a very useful tool in delineating the nature and the extent of this vascular abnormality, because you can see the numerous areas of telangiectasia and micro and macrovascular aneurysms formation. You also have beading, venous beading, and you might have you might have, as I said, you might have early and persistent dye leakage, which is at the source of exudation, and you might have a complete capillary dropout with areas of complete capillary non-perfusion. Now, depends on when you find the retina is your diagnosis. In early stages, usually, as I said, you have decreased vision, and on exam you might have telangiectasia only, but the anterior segment might be normal. In advanced stages, they usually present with poor vision, as I said before, leukoporia, strabismus, the wide pupillary reflex on photographs noted by the parents. And then you see on the retina, you see extensive lipid exudation and detachment as opposed to just telangiectasia that you see. Now, anterior segment in advanced stages, especially the more advanced stages, would have rubiosis and the closure of the cataract. So as we said before, what is differential diagnosis? The less severe stages, especially in adults, must be differentiated from other disorders that produce vascular changes and activation, مثلا Ehlers disease, vasculitis, collagen vascular disease, any condition that has some kind of a mass with exudation should be considered, like a tumor with exudation. What are tumors that do exudation in this age group? Retinoblastoma, very good. Does, say, a choroidal melanoma do this?
Rarely.
Very, very good, very, very unusual to do that. It does precipitates, but usually they're much deeper. And it's a different age group, it's a different location, it's a different B-scan moment. Now, diabetic vasculopathy with lipid deposition can mimic this, especially if you have severe lipid issues, dyslipidemias. Branch arterial vein occlusion with remodeling, especially with the telangiectasia. Telangiectasia, as I said, are either a sign of retinopathy or BRVO. Rhegmatogenous retinal detachment, yes, especially in advanced stages. Radiation retinopathy, although we're not going to talk about it, it was relatively rare. But again, it does this localized exudation, mass-like effect. Idiopathic juxtafoveal telangiectasia. Again, especially that there is this telangiectasia that leak. Von Hippel, as we saw an hour ago. Angiomatosis of the retina. Exophytic capillary hemangioma and sickle cell retinopathy. Although this is probably less so. So thorough review of the system, medical history, usually help. And of course the fluorescein, as I said before, the B-scan, may be of use. Let me show you. This. Now in late stages, like we see this boy, you have other causes of leukoporia, as we said before. You guys mentioned the balls, I was happy. Retinoblastoma, ROP, although like I said before, and I like to say always ROP is more of a cemental disease. Retinal detachment, trauma, or something. Persistent hyperplastic primary vitreous, usually at the younger age, but it can happen. Congenital cataract, toxocariasis, incontinenta pigmenti, Norris disease, and fever. Now, it's important to note, that telangiectatic vessels may appear on the surface of both retinoblastomas and coats. However, in retinoblastomas, these are usually continuous with large trunks into the tumor, while coats do not extend. These are pure feeder vessels, they do not extend into the mass. So the fluorescein angiography might differentiate these two abnormalities, and CT as well, looking for calcification, say, in retinoblastoma, as opposed to the absence of that codes. Now, the examination of subretinal fluid, of course, can confirm the diagnosis, but you're not going to tap subretinal fluid or something of these, especially if you're suspecting retinoblastoma. But say, suppose you have an enucleated eye, you want to see what was the cause, then you can see that. We see mostly cholesterol crystals, as I said, it goes with lipid exudation, and pigment-laden macrophages, and the absence of tumor cells. Again, this is a post-enucleation study that is probably done rather than a study done while the eye is still encased. Now, what is the treatment? Well, it depends on where you are in your disease, but the philosophy behind treatment of post-disease is basically you want to preserve visual acuity. You want to treat when this is possible without causing much damage. And if in more advanced cases you have the visual acuity that's severely affected, you just want to preserve the anatomical integrity of the eye. So in severe untreated cases, you have total retinal detachment, as I said before, you have RIs, you have glaucoma, you have thesis bulbing, which can result. So that's why the treatment is important. Also, intervention is complicated when exudation is extensive and progressive and threatens visual acuity, because you can have a peripheral RT in these cases. Now, usually you try to close abdominal leaking vessels, so this will allow the reabsorption of the exudates. Although in these cases, the restoration of vision may be difficult and the results can be poor, especially if you have the macula already involved in the exudation process. It means that the exudation has been there for a while, has migrated from mid-periphery to usually supratemporal to the macula and the perimacular area. So laser is one of the treatment of choices in exudation, and it's like a grid pattern laser. Fluorescein angiography would allow the precise localized treatment leaking aneurysms and vessels. Lesions that leak are actively treated directly with large spot usually because of the heavy exudation and moderate intensity power. Now, if you have areas of non-perfusion, you have to do a scatter laser photoablation, and this would, of course, decrease the chances of new vessels. Peripheral laser may be treated with either an indirect laser delivery or with a contact lens implant delivery system. The indirect is also useful in children because they're sometimes bedbound and you sometimes have to treat them with anesthesia. When you have subretinal fluid, just like all other vascular abnormalities nowadays, cryotherapy is recommended because this will reach. And using a single freeze or a freeze-refreeze is okay, it works fine. Now, the retina is elevated, so it may be necessary to drain this fluid, but again, I wouldn't do it if you have a suspicion of retinoblastoma. Now, once flat, you can either do laser or cryotherapy, depending on where that most of the exudation and the telangiectasias and the aneurysms are. Now, if you have subretinal pigmentation or fibrosis, this means that you have starting, the fluid is coming out and your lipid will hopefully resolve soon. If, unfortunately, it involves the macula, of course, then submacular fibrosis would be there and you wouldn't have good vision.
Poor.
So usually it is progressive. As I said, the very, very small majority would involute by itself. Now you have continued exudation from abnormal vascular channels, which produce a gradual accumulation of lipid and a serious RT. The course is more rapid in eyes with more extensive vascular abnormalities, and as I said before, if you have acute exacerbation of the disease, usually followed by periods of stability, the exudative process, particularly in young patients, much more than the old, may be followed by uveitis, neovascular coma, and eventually thesis bulbing. So you really have to try and avoid this from happening. Shields and colleagues have reported the biggest series of post-disease. I don't know if you're familiar with Carol and Jerry Shields, but they are the main tumor-related people in the US, in Philadelphia, and they have the biggest series of post-disease because of these babies or small boys and baby girls that get referred to them as presumed retinoblastoma cases. Now, risk factors for predictive poor outcome in their series were by poor outcome meaning vision of 20/200 or worse, post-equatorial diffuse relocation, fatal dilution of subretinal fluid, significant factors for inflation included elevation IOP and iris fluorescence. Ultimate prognosis internal two endpoints, central visual acuity and anatomical stability. In eyes with advanced Coats disease, the visual acuity is usually poor because it's not diagnosed on time and not treated until significant there. You know, those are patients who get referred because of like a tumor-like change. Even with good treatment, there might be resolution of macular deposits with significant subretinal fibrosis and macular impairment. And despite this, amblyopia should be considered in patients who have post-disease like optical polarization, because it has been reported that gains in visual acuity can happen after the resolution of macular exudate. So this is when you start treating the amblyopia. Now, there is another big series of 280 patients, 307 eyes, with a mean age of 15 years in India. And their range is as young as 4 months old baby all the way to 80 years who had Coats disease. There is decreased vision there as the initial and final outcome at 77%. 90% were unilateral, but some were bilateral. In the Indian series, there's a huge name preponderance, but I believe, knowing the Indian culture, a lot of, unfortunately, little girls are neglected, so that should be taken with a grain of salt. Anterior segment involvement is seen at a very high percentage in the Indian series, 21%. And telangiectasias are seen in most eyes, exudation in good number, and retinal detachment in 158 eyes. Now, the four-quadrant disease was seen in 2/3, and a good number had less than 2200 vision, 80% had less than 2200. If you have good treatment in good time, 109 of those had favorable anatomic outcome and structural outcome as well in 207 eyes. Now, only 5% of the eyes were irradiated in this Indian series, which is good. It means not too many progressed to very severe stages. And complications following treatment, especially cryotherapy, resulted in phthisis bulbi, neovascular glaucoma, epithelial membrane formation, and bullosus iridis. So because of this, these complications, other treatment modalities were developed. For instance, Avastin has been reported in certain cases of Coats disease. You also have this case where Avastin was given and the resolution of the exudation was good after 3 times monthly injections of Avastin. You also have this other report that talks about this in a 13-year-old boy. Abstract on the meeting, the ARVO meeting, as well had this bevacizumab that again, in 35 eyes of 33 patients with Coats disease that had a CT proof that it didn't improve. Okay, I'd like to thank you and take another 5-minute break to answer questions before we move to choroidal disease.